Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. If you'd like to get some weeknight meal ideas for your family, then just keep watching. This first night I made hamburger steaks for dinner. I don't have an exact recipe for this, I just kind of threw it together, but I'll show you what I did. So first I've sauteed some onions and mushrooms in a medium saucepan. I've got some butter, Worcestershire sauce, and salt and pepper, and I'm just going to cook those until they're soft. For the hamburger steaks, I have a pound of ground beef here, and I'm going to season this with some Montreal steak seasoning, Worcestershire sauce, garlic powder, salt and pepper. You can use whatever seasonings you like. And then once I've added my seasonings, I'm going to mix that together with my hands gently and then form that into 3 different patties. And I have no idea what happened to the footage of me cooking these steaks. I guess I thought I was recording and I really wasn't. But all I'm going to do is cook these in a skillet over about medium-high heat for 5 or 6 minutes per side or until they're cooked to my liking. For one of my sides tonight, I'm going to make some Brussels sprouts, so I have my oven preheated to 425 degrees. You could also cook these in the air fryer. I'm going to take some Brussels sprouts that have been washed and dried, and I'm going to slice them in half and place them on my cookie sheet. Next, I'm going to toss them with a little bit of oil, as well as some salt and pepper. I'm just keeping the seasonings simple tonight. And then I'm going to cook these in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until the Brussels sprouts are tender. And for my second side, I was going to make some mashed sweet potatoes, but I just didn't feel like it, so I'm just going to make some of this Kraft macaroni and cheese. And to finish the Brussels sprouts, I like to toss them in some balsamic vinegar, which I am out of, so I'm just using some of this Trader Joe's balsamic glaze. This stuff is really good. And then I also have some cooked leftover bacon that I'm just going to toss the Brussels sprouts with. And here are the finished plates. We have the hamburger steaks with the sauteed onions and mushrooms, the macaroni and cheese. I added some ground pepper, and then we have the Brussels sprouts, and my husband will probably use some steak sauce with his hamburger steak. And that's dinner tonight. Dinner tonight is going to be super quick and easy. I'm making a chicken bacon ranch pizza. I've been craving this, and I saw Living That Mama Life make it the other day, and so I decided that I had everything on hand, so I was going to make it. So to get started, I'm just taking this Great Value pizza crust, and I am going to make the pizza crust according to the package directions on the back. I've done this before in a couple other videos. These little packets are great. They have everything that you need, the flour, the yeast, everything. So for this package, you just take the package, mix it with some water, stir it together, and then you're going to set it aside for 5 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, I'm going to take my pizza pan, spray it generously with some cooking spray, turn out the dough, and then I'm just going to use my fingertips and press it into a pizza shape. Then I'm going to generously prick this with a fork and place it into a preheated oven. I believe it was set to 450 degrees, and I'm going to cook it for about 8 or 9 minutes. Next, I'm going to take some ranch dressing and spread that around the crust. You can use as much or as little as you'd like. I'm then going to add some cheese. This is just the Great Value Italian cheese blend. It has mozzarella, Parmesan, and other cheeses in it. And again, just add as much or as little as you like. Next, I'm going to add my toppings. So here I have some chicken breast that I've already cooked. This was just in my freezer. I pulled it out and thawed it and diced it up. And then I have some bacon that I cooked a couple days ago and saved that. And so I've chopped it up and I'm going to add that. And then I also like to add some chopped green onions and some chopped Roma tomatoes. I just feel like it gives it some freshness and good flavor, but you can omit that if you'd like. Finally, I'm going to take a little bit of this shredded cheddar cheese and put that on top, and then I'm going to place this back into the oven for another 8 or 9 minutes. And here's the finished pizza out of the oven. I'm just going to allow it to cool for a few minutes, and then we'll slice it and have dinner. And here are the finished plates. I just did paper plates this night. We weren't really hungry and we were really busy, so that just made it easy. And this dinner was really delicious, and it was really quick. It took less than 30 minutes to put together. Tonight for dinner, I'm going to be making chili mac. This recipe is from Plain Chicken. I will include the recipe in the description box below. I've made this a couple other times and we really enjoy it. And my husband does not like chili, but he actually likes this. So I recommend you give this recipe a try. So to get started, in my Dutch oven, I'm just going to brown some ground turkey. The recipe does call for ground beef. You can use either. Next, I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. So I'm going to add some tomato sauce, some diced tomatoes. I had a can of fire roasted tonight that I used, and that turned out really well. Then I'm going to add the beef broth, then a can of chili beans. Next, I'm going to add my elbow macaroni noodles. Now, these have not been cooked. And then I'm going to add my seasonings. So the recipe calls for a packet of chili seasoning. I didn't have that, so I just basically used all of the spices that are in that. So here I'm just adding onion powder, garlic powder, chili powder, paprika. I added a little bit of chipotle chili powder, and then some salt and pepper. And I'm just adding all of these seasonings to taste. And once I've got my seasonings in, I'm going to give that a really good stir and then bring that to a boil. Now, this is what I love about this recipe. It's a one-pot dish, and it takes less than 30 minutes from start to finish. So once my mixture comes to a boil, I am going to add in my shredded cheese and give that a stir. And then I'm going to turn my heat down and simmer this for about 15 to 18 minutes or until your macaroni noodles are cooked all the way. And here are the finished plates. So I just have the chili mac served with some shredded cheese, some sour cream on my husband's, and then I warmed up some Sister Schubert rolls, and that was dinner. Tonight for dinner, I'm going to make easy French dips. I got this recipe from my mom's friend Leslie. These are so quick and easy to put together, and they're delicious. So let me show you what you'll need. You will need some roast beef. I'm just using some of this from Great Value. You can use your favorite brand, or you can make roast beef in the crock pot or use leftovers, whatever you like. I'm just using this because it's super quick and easy. Then I'm going to use a can of this Campbell's beef consommé, some deli rolls from Aldi, some sliced provolone cheese, and then we like sauteed onions and mushrooms on ours. You can omit this if you don't like onions and or mushrooms, or if you just want to make it even faster. So to get started, I've got my oven preheated to 425 degrees, and I've sauteed my onions and mushrooms in some butter. I've seasoned it with some Worcestershire sauce, salt, and pepper. So now to get started on my sandwiches, I'm just going to take a piece of aluminum foil. I'm going to take my deli roll, and then I'm going to add some roast beef. I'm then going to add my sauteed onions and mushrooms, and again, you can leave this off. Then I'm going to add a slice of cheese. And I forgot to mention this, but I have the beef consommé warming up in a small saucepan on the stove. I'm going to place the top of the roll on and then wrap that up in the aluminum foil and then place that on a cookie sheet. I'm just using this pizza pan just because it was clean and on my counter. And then I'm going to place this into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. So for a quick side, I'm just going to take some of these crinkle cut fries from Kroger, cook them in my air fryer on 400 degrees for about 8 minutes, give it a shake, and cook it for another 6 or 7 minutes. And here are the finished plates. So we have the sandwiches, the warmed up au jus, along with the French fries. I'm going to have some ketchup with my fries. My husband will have some of this spicy ketchup. And that's dinner tonight. This was so good, and it's so quick and easy to put together. I highly recommend this. Tonight for dinner, I'm going to make loaded baked potato soup. I've made this recipe many times over the past few years, and we like this, and it's really easy to put together. It takes not even 30 minutes. So to get started, in this saucepan, I'm going to place my butter, and this is over about medium to medium high heat. I'm going to allow that butter to melt, and I will include the recipe for this as well as recipes for the rest of today's video in the description box below. And while that butter is melting, if you see over in the corner, what I have here are about 3 baked potatoes that I have left over. Now, I just made some baked potatoes in the air fryer. I cooked them on, I think it was 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then flipped them and cooked them for another 15 or 20 minutes until they were tender. You can use leftover baked potatoes, or you can just boil up some potatoes. Either one works just fine. I'm then going to add in my flour and whisk that together, and I'm going to cook that for about 30 seconds to a minute. I'm then going to whisk in my milk, and I'm going to stir it kind of frequently until this comes to a boil. And as that's coming up to a boil, I'm going to add in my cooked potatoes, and then I'm going to add in some green onions. Now, I've chopped up the green onions, and I'm going to put almost all of them into the soup. I'm going to save a little bit to garnish it. And once that comes up to a boil, I'm going to turn it on low and add in the rest of my ingredients. So I'm going to add in my cooked chopped up bacon. I'm going to add in some shredded cheese. And here I'm just using some Mexican style blend, but you can use shredded cheddar or whatever you have on hand. And then I'm going to add in some sour cream. And just a quick note here, instead of the bacon, you could use diced ham. That would be really good. And then I'm going to season this with some salt and pepper. You can use whatever seasonings you like. I'm then going to give this a stir and cook this for just a couple of minutes. I'm just really melting the cheese and warming the soup and the sour cream and everything through. And then that's it. The soup's ready to serve up. And here's the finished soup. I just garnished it with some of the leftover sour cream, shredded cheese, bacon, and green onions, and that's it. We weren't really hungry tonight, so we just had the soup, but normally I would serve this with like a side salad and some rolls, but that's dinner tonight. Super easy and really delicious. Tonight for dinner, I wanted to do a little bit different spin than our traditional pizza and wings night, so I'm going to make pizza dip and my dad's recipe for wings. So let me show you how I make this. I'm first going to start on the wings. Now, my dad's recipe says to deep fry them, and they're delicious. I love them that way. I feel like they're best that way. But just to make it easier on myself tonight, I'm going to cook mine in the oven. You can also do this in the air fryer. So what I've done is I've preheated my oven to 425 degrees. I have a couple of wire racks on a cookie sheet, and I am just going to take a paper towel and pat the chicken dry really well, and then put the chicken wings onto my wire racks. And just a quick note here, as you notice, I did not wash my chicken. Now, I know people have strong opinions on whether or not to wash chicken. I don't. The FDA and the CDC both strongly discourage you from washing chicken and other raw meats. So I don't wash my chicken, but if you want to wash your chicken, hey, it's your kitchen. You do you, wash your chicken. I'm not going to though. I'm just going to pat them dry really well. Next, I'm just going to season both sides of my chicken wings with some salt and some pepper, and then I'm going to place them into my preheated oven. I'll cook them for about 15 minutes, give them a flip, and cook them for another 15 minutes or so. While my chicken is cooking, I am going to get started on my pizza dip. So in this bowl, I'm just going to take some softened cream cheese and add that. And then I'm just going to take a spoon and beat that a little bit to get some air in it. You can absolutely bring out your mixer if you'd like to, but I just use my spoon. And then I'm going to add the remaining ingredients. So I'm going to add some grated Parmesan cheese, some sour cream, a little bit of garlic salt, and then I'm going to stir that really well. Next, I'm going to take a pie plate and I'm going to spray that with some nonstick cooking spray. Next, I'm going to put the mixture into the bottom of the pie plate and I'm just going to use my spatula and spread that out. Next, I'm going to add my pizza sauce. You can use your favorite. I'm just using this Great Value pizza sauce. The recipe calls for, I believe, a half a cup of pizza sauce, but I used closer to probably a cup because we like it extra saucy. Next, I'm going to add my shredded mozzarella cheese. The recipe doesn't call for this, but I found this little bit of remaining Parmesan cheese in my fridge. There's only maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons worth in here, so I'm just going to add that to use it up. Next, I'm going to take some of these pepperonis and chop them up and place them on top. You can also use those little mini pepperonis if you have those. And with this recipe, use whatever you like on your pizza. So I'm just using some pepperoni tonight. I do have a few black olives that I'm going to chop up and put on half for my husband. But again, use whatever your favorite pizza toppings are. You could use cooked Italian sausage, bell peppers, onions, mushrooms, whatever you like. And once my wings are done, I will turn the oven down to 375 degrees and I'll cook this pizza dip for about 15 to 20 minutes. I like to serve some toasted French bread along with the pizza dip, but you could use tortilla chips or even crackers. So I'm just going to slice this bread up and then I'll put it in the oven along with the pizza dip for about the last 5 or 6 minutes that the pizza dip cooks, just until the bread's golden brown. Now that the wings are done, I'm going to get started on the sauce. In this bowl, I have melted a stick of butter, and then I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of your favorite buffalo sauce. Now, I'm just using this from the Dollar Tree. I used it a couple weeks ago for my husband. I just grabbed it while I was there to try it, and he actually enjoyed it. So that's what I'm going to use tonight, but again, just use your favorite. And then I'm going to add about 1/3 cup of Catalina dressing, and this is the secret ingredient, I'm going to call it. Normally when we go out, I don't order buffalo wings because I am not a big vinegary sauce type person, and so I can't stand the really vinegary taste of most buffalo wings. So that's what I love about this recipe, is that little bit of sweetness from the Catalina dressing kind of counteracts that vinegar a little bit, but the Catalina also has a nice twang. So I recommend this recipe. It's actually really good. Might sound a little weird, but it's really good. I'm then going to add in some Mrs. Dash garlic and herb seasoning, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of cayenne pepper. My dad's recipe doesn't call for this, but I like that little bit of an extra kick. And then I'm going to give that a toss, and then add my chicken wings and toss that. And then I'm going to place the chicken wings back onto the wire racks, and I'm going to place them into the 375-degree oven with my pizza dip for about 10 to 15 minutes, just to allow that sauce to stick to the chicken. And here are the finished wings, pizza, and bread. Now, I did take the remaining sauce. There was just a little bit left over, and I brushed it over the chicken to make them a little extra saucy. And here are the finished plates. So I have the chicken wings along with the pizza dip and the toasted bread. And then for my husband, I have some Ken's Steakhouse blue cheese dressing on the side for him to dip his wings in. And that's dinner tonight. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.